Here we have a new inverter that's come from a lesser known company by the name of Solinba. So let's have a look. It's packaged in a FedEx box and it's double boxed. So that provides a good protection, better than many that I've seen. It's very heavy indeed, so I've turned it upside down in order to extract it from the first box. So it's properly packaged in polystyrene. This is much better than competing inverters, which from China have been very bad quality. This looks good, as I expect from this company. And so really I need another person to hold on to the box. So I'm not going to show you pulling it out. So here it is extracted, and in the box we've got some screws, don't know what those are for yet, and there are some little packages. So it comes with wheels, to put it on wheels. I'm not sure whether I'll put it on wheels or not, but we'll see. And it comes with leads. These are 10mm square, and so there are 4 of these, so that's 40mm square. On the base, so that's 40mm square. That's the equivalent, therefore, of 6mm cables. 6 times 6mm would take 180 amps. So these cables are good for 200 amps. That's a very reasonable figure for this inverter. So this is sent out intending clearly to be the business. Having unwrapped the plastic off, here's the front panel, and we'll turn it over and look at the back. Here we've got a switch battery type for charging, a hefty fan there, power on and off, and a panel for displaying voltage and frequency and things. On the back we've got 2 13 amp outlets. We've got AC outlet to connect our ring main into. Looks as though we've got power cutouts rather than fuses, that's fine. A charge fuse, this is AC input for charging. We've got 2 more fans at the back and another display, so we'll see what that's about in a minute. Now, these terminals, when I saw photographs, I was a bit worried that they were a bit close together, but seeing the cables that they've supplied with them, I'm now no longer concerned about that. It looks very good. And despite the good packaging, we've got a bit of a dent there. However, that's cosmetic rather than anything else, and this is heavy, so this isn't a surprise, and really I'm not surprised, and it doesn't really matter because it's got 2 good handles to manhandle it with. The first thing I do when looking at a new device like this is take the lid off, especially coming from China. You never know what you'll find inside. Some manufacturers are totally wonderful. I've undone all the screws. So here's what we've got. Well, we've got a set of 2 power boards. This is rather good. The competing unit from another company, which shall be nameless, which has been dreadful in its reputation, especially for after-sales support, used to have only 1, and this has got 2 hefty transformers. Now these transformers are, I don't know if the camera will focus on this, SL3K6. SL3K6. These look pretty heavy transformers, and they're made of copper. Competing companies are using aluminium, which is why their transformers aren't very good. But these are the real deal. we've got an interesting transformer that's been lifted off the board there quite deliberately. They know what they're doing, I'm quite sure. There aren't any supplementary boards here other than for the ISO isolators. So this looks as though it's been well designed. Let's turn it round. The fans are suspended in mid-air rather than being mounted actually here as you'd expect. This is somewhat in mid-air. However, it's going to supply circulation to the whole thing. There we've got a fan well placed to provide ventilation for the semiconductor heat sinks. Here we've got another one in series and another one in series, so the electronics are properly cooled. This is very impressive. And we've got one main fan at the entrance here below the transformers, pushing air through the whole unit. So this is well ventilated and I'm quite impressed. Here we come to see the other side. We've got this set of cables going to the control switches at that end. Looks as though there are some switches, the buttons there to do things. Don't know what those are. I'm going to ask Lily at Solinba what they are. Oh, that's good. We've got proper ferrite rings here to reduce the standby current. They could have another couple of turns on them, but at least we've got them on there, so that's good. And we've got one on both sides of the transformer, so that's very good. It looks as though we've got the transformers not wired in parallel as such. Each transformer is supplied by its own set of electronics, so that provides a degree of redundancy. So if something fails, it looks to me as though one's got a duplicate and it's not going to entirely fail. So this looks as though it's been designed with fail-safe ideas in mind, which is rather good. I'm impressed. So we've now got the feet, the wheels onto this inverter. A couple of them are locking wheels, and it's very heavy. We'll now take it down to the barn and connect it up. I'm expecting good things. So here's the 3 kilowatt unit that I've been using now for the best part of 9 months. It hasn't skipped a beat. It's absolutely brilliant. It's 3 kilowatts specified. It does what it says on the tin. It actually does do 3 kilowatts and a little bit more for a very short time, but it does actually do the 3 kilowatts that it says it does. This is I think it's an 8 kilowatt unit. There are two 3 kilowatt transformers inside, so it will do 6 kilowatts continuous. It's probably, they probably call it a 6 kilowatts, and it's probably going to do up to 8 kilowatts for a short time. I don't know, we'll see. But my fuses, my cutouts, are rated at 30 amps, and so this won't be used at more than 6 kilowatts. Certainly it's got two 3 kilowatt transformers inside, so it probably is the 6 kilowatt model. It's certainly more than double the size, and the transformers are certainly more than double the size of the 3 kilowatt unit. So everything reeks quality, and in connecting it up this evening, I've been looking, even these connectors, these wires aren't a nice multi-strand cable, very, very good quality. Now I do something very funny. I'm concerned about vibrating the demand on the batteries and vibrating the battery plates. So I put a massive inductor in series with my supply. So I'm not using the negative wires because they're not large enough to wind around that so I'm not using the original cables supplied with it because they're not long enough to accommodate a number of turns around a large toroid there. And what I normally do is, having put that toroid, that choke, in series with the power supply to here, I will put a bank of audio grade supercapacitors, 1 farad capacitor each. So it's 24 volts, so it's in series, so that's effectively 1 farad. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 farads, which smooths the demand made on the battery system. Whether there's merit in that or not, I'm not sure. It might be pure superstition. So as a result of that, I've also put a choke, a toroid in series with these wires before I connect them up. And in connecting them up, I've used a light bulb in series, so that there is my positive, and I'm holding that onto the bus bar and letting that charge up to the full 24 volts, so that I then don't have a spark. Now, this has some nice locks on the wheels, so it's very easy to move into position and get that stable. Sorry about the lens cap there dangling down. There's a problem with doing videos on the fly. So we're going to turn it on. Here are the back connections, and I've had to put normal nuts here because these screw threads start a little bit further along, so it wouldn't pick up on those screw threads as I put it on. I suppose now it might possibly. On the other hand, I think that's more secure because it will be held on more threads. So let's try it on and see what happens. Power save off. And there we have 237 volts. Ideally, I'd probably like that down to 230. Probably quite good though, because it's going through a long cable, so there'd be less voltage drop. 236 volts, 236.9, so it's 237. Now the voltage is alterable on this with those 3 buttons, but I've got to take the lid off to get to them, which is rather frustrating. Straight on 50 hertz, and that's looking good. Let's have a look at the back here, and that's showing 25.1. Well, whether that's 25.1 or not, I'm not sure. Our battery system is showing 25.4. Let's measure it with our voltmeter. There's our voltmeter, and we'll put that across the terminals. .6. So that is closer. So the voltmeter on the back isn't accurate, but these standard voltmeters tend to be not totally accurate. Let's measure the standby current. 20 amps AC. Standby current is 2.3 amps, which isn't bad at all for an inverter of this size. So we're looking at a very, very competent machine that is built very professionally and will last for years.